Why did Jungkook suddenly pull Jimin into a deep embrace right in front of hundreds of cameras at the airport? And why did Taehyung, moments later, break down in tears he could no longer hold back? Was this simply an emotional farewell, or something far deeper, something hidden beneath the surface that left millions of fans speechless, uneasy, and desperate for answers? What unfolded that day at the airport was unlike anything BTS fans, or ARMY, had ever witnessed before. The silence of the members, the intensity of Jungkook's embrace, and Taehyung's visible collapse transformed what should have been an ordinary public appearance into one of the most emotional, shocking, and talked about moments in BTS history. From the very first clips that went viral, it was clear, this was no routine departure. Jungkook's arms wrapped tightly around Jimin, the pained expressions on both of their faces, and Taehyung trembling nearby as he wiped away uncontrollable tears. Everything about that moment carried a weight too heavy to ignore. Almost instantly, questions exploded online. What made Jungkook hug Jimin so publicly in a place usually filled with polite waves and practiced smiles? Why did Jimin look so overwhelmed, his eyes caught between sadness and relief, like he was holding back something unspoken? And what could have shaken Taehyung so deeply that he could no longer conceal his emotions in front of the world? For years, BTS have been celebrated not just as artists, but as brothers, their bond unbreakable, their unity the foundation of everything they've built together. Jungkook and Jimin especially have shared countless affectionate, lighthearted moments that fans have adored. But this time, the energy was different. This was not playful. It was not staged. It was raw, an embrace filled with urgency, almost desperation, as if Jungkook was clinging to something he feared was slipping away. Witnesses said the entire airport seemed to fall into silence. Reporters, fans, even security froze as the two stood locked in that wordless moment. Jungkook held Jimin close, his jaw tight, his eyes shut as if trying to memorize the feeling. Jimin didn't resist. He simply leaned in, his lips pressed together, his body language calm yet heavy. It was not the kind of hug fans were used to. It was longer, deeper, and impossibly emotional, as though Jungkook was saying goodbye without words. Then came the most shocking moment of all, Taehyung's breakdown. Just steps away, he suddenly began to cry. Witnesses described it as one of the most heartbreaking sights they had ever seen. Taehyung's hands trembled as he tried to hide his face, but his tears kept falling. Cameras captured everything. Within seconds, clips of his tears flooded social media, sending the fandom into chaos. Why was Taehyung, known for his quiet strength, so visibly shattered? The airport, usually a space for cheerful send-offs, had turned into an emotional battlefield. Jungkook's desperate embrace, Jimin's silent surrender, and Taehyung's uncontrollable tears created an atmosphere that felt almost unbearable. Fans who were present said the air itself felt heavy, as if something monumental had just shifted. Speculation erupted instantly. Some fans believed this was no ordinary goodbye, perhaps a farewell to a chapter of their lives, a symbol of change or upcoming separation. Others insisted it was an emotional breaking point, that unspoken tension had finally reached its peak. Whatever the reason, one thing became undeniable: this moment exposed the deeply human side of BTS in a way no performance ever had. Jungkook's embrace spoke of desperation. Jimin's silence spoke of sorrow. Taehyung's tears spoke of devastation. For a fandom that had always seen BTS as pillars of unity and strength, this was shattering. Why would Taehyung, the one who often comforted others, break down so visibly unless something truly painful was unfolding? Fans analyzed every frame. In the videos, Jungkook's grip on Jimin was tight, his fingers digging into his back as though he couldn't bear to let go. His eyes were shut, his shoulders tense. Jimin didn't resist. He simply stood still, his face calm but unreadable, his lips trembling slightly as though fighting to hold back words. There were no smiles, no jokes, only silence and weight. This wasn't just affection. It was emotion on the edge of collapse. Taehyung's tears became the most haunting image of all. Unlike the others, he couldn't maintain composure. His breakdown showed just how much the moment had affected him. Some fans believed he was simply overcome by empathy, unable to watch his brothers in pain. Others suspected he knew something much deeper, something the world had not yet seen. The internet exploded. Within hours, hashtags related to the airport moment were trending globally. Millions of fans shared clips, screenshots, and theories. Some begged for reassurance, others demanded explanations. A few even expressed anger, upset that the members or their agency stayed silent while speculation grew louder by the minute. The fandom split between those convinced it was just an emotional farewell and those certain it marked something darker. The timing made it all more confusing. BTS members have each been pursuing individual projects while balancing massive expectations and global fame. Under such immense pressure, any emotional crack becomes magnified. Perhaps this airport moment wasn't a crisis, but rather an unguarded glimpse of their human side, exhaustion, love, and longing laid bare before the world. Because behind the lights, the perfection, and the smiles, they are still just 7 human beings carrying unimaginable weight. And on that day, it seemed that weight finally broke through the surface. Fans are now left wondering, was Jungkook's embrace a promise of unity or a desperate attempt to hold on to something fading? Was Jimin's quiet acceptance comfort or resignation? And was Taehyung's emotional collapse a sign that something within the group has begun to fracture? Every gesture, every look, every tear has been dissected, slowed down, replayed, and debated endlessly. But beneath all the speculation lies a heartbreaking truth: the members are in pain, and for once, they couldn't hide it. The hug that silenced an entire airport, the tears that spread across millions of screens, the questions that remain unanswered, together, they have created one of the most unforgettable chapters in BTS history. Fans continue to rewatch, to analyze, to hope, hoping it was nothing more than a fleeting emotional moment. But as days pass, one thing remains clear: that embrace and those tears will not fade easily. They've been etched into the heart of the fandom forever, a raw reminder that even the strongest bonds can tremble under the weight of reality. And yet, after all the theories, all the emotional reactions, and the viral frenzy, it's also important to step back and see the full picture. There is still no official confirmation that anything beyond affection and stress took place. BTS have always expressed love for one another publicly. Hugs, laughter, and quiet moments have long been part of their story. To assume this one moment signals crisis might be an overreach born from the intensity of fandom emotions and social media amplification. Jungkook's embrace, while deeply emotional, could simply be a brotherly gesture magnified by context. Jimin's silence might reflect exhaustion, not sorrow. And Taehyung's supposed breakdown may have been misunderstood, a moment caught at the wrong